Okay. Okay. So, well, if I can get it going here. It works, and then it don't. Right up to when I need to use it, it will stop working. Hey. Well, that's fantastic. Let me try and get it going here one more time. And
You might stick it in presentation mode and then share it, and then you can share the big.
yeah, I think it's trying to pull up a different screen that's not connected to it. Okay, maybe now. Okay, so hopefully you all can see that now.
Can you guys see that?
Y'all can see that because I can't now, so.
I'm not seeing it. Is anybody else seeing it?
I'm not seeing it, Amy.
Thanks. I was before, it was just not showing the slideshow one.
Okay. Let me try.
There we go.
Maybe now? I see it now. Okay, now my laptop is just trying to connect to something that's not there.
Yeah, I think we see your background now. There we go.
The screen. And if I do that, it doesn't do anything. Well, I can just go through the presentation like this then.
Okay, we can work with this.
I don't know why it's doing something weird on me here. It was working. So this was so with the OPIC. I'll just get started here. OPIC, the Oklahoma Petroleum Information Center. This is a place that hopefully at some point in the last 20 some odd years, hopefully several of y'all have had a chance to visit. This is, what I just referred to as OPIC. And this is a facility run by the Oklahoma Geological Survey in Norman. It's over on the north side of town, off campus. So, parking is a lot easier over here than on campus. And I've joined in 2024, to work on some critical mineral projects. And I'm looking through cores, cuttings, open up boxes from old documents from 100 years ago, trying to get any information that I can want to look at some of these, these critical mineral projects that everybody's interested in now. So I make my office my home at OPIC. And so one thing I do have to tell you something about is the history to this and to the collections that we have, of course, and the future of OPIC. And, once upon a time, we have the beginning of OGS, the beginning of the survey. Try and give you a little bit of idea on where OPIC came from, its origin story, and it started way back in 1900 as the territorial survey, as a survey of natural resources of the Oklahoma Territory back in 1900. And it was run by this guy here, Charles Gould. He founded the geology program at OU, and he was the first state geologist of Oklahoma, and went on to run the Oklahoma Geological Survey whenever it got its start upon statehood. And the OGS is the only state to have been actually chartered in the state constitution, and the only state to have done so. And Charles Gould was tapped to run that, and it officially got its start in 1908, just a year after statehood. And Charles Gould, he was also the author of his own little autobiography, The Covered Wagon Geologist. Not too many geologists write their own autobiographies, and not too many have a biography at all. But if you happen to run across a copy of this somewhere, I suggest that you snag it. They're kind of hard to find. And I've got one sitting on my desk as well. And then, we jump up to the 30s, because nothing of interest happened in the world between 1908 and 1937. The leadership had changed, and OGS was run by this smiling gentleman, Robert Dott. And he had sort of another vision for OGS that had closer ties between OGS and the state with industry. And so he was getting more involved with not just petroleum, but all non-mineral or non-fuel resources, rather. Things like gypsum and limestone, gravel, sand. He wanted OGS to get more involved into these things, as well as keep strong ties with the oil and gas industry and the coal industry. But he saw the need for a sample library, something where both the industry and OGS and the state and the public at large will get mutual benefit from. And so he had this core and sample library established. And there was not a whole lot of place to put it, I guess. And so they just stashed it under the bleachers in the football stadium. I guess storage space was a little bit harder to get around OU at the time. And it was just kind of like next door, across the street from the OGS offices anyway. So, but after World War II, a building had opened up at what they call the North Campus. This was the Westheimer Airport in Norman. The Navy had a facility up there during World War II because, of course, the Navy needs a place in Oklahoma. But it was a pilot training facility, I believe. So it was sort of more of a Air Force type of thing going on. And so they moved out. OGS moved in and used that for space. until a larger building opened up on the south campus near where across the street where the basketball arena is today. And that was like a 17,000 square foot building. And they moved in 1957, and they stayed there for decades after. And in the 90s, the Sarkees Energy Center was being built where the OGS offices are today. And OGS moved their office to Sarkees, and they moved the log library that they had built up within the OGS offices and moved that just off campus into its own facility. And at this time, we go up into the 90s there, the core library was starting to reach max capacity. Space was running short. You know, there was getting more of question of, are they going to be able to keep taking cores? And then some news came out of Tulsa that Amoco got acquired by BP. And if anybody remembers those days, and then Amoco had a large core library that was housed there in Tulsa. BP, I suppose, I can only assume, was just trying to figure out what to do with it. And I'm just assuming that they had two options. One, just move it all down to Houston, or two, donate $3 million to OU and let OU and OGS figure out what to do with it. And that's what they did. And with that money, a large facility was acquired just on the north side of town near the Westheimer Airport. This was a facility that was a Cisco food distribution warehouse. They had moved out. They had just moved a mile up the street and was selling off their old building, 200,000 square feet. You know, a big jump from the 17,000 square foot facility down by the basketball arena. And so, hey, we got a lot of more space here. They bought that. OU had acquired it. We moved all the core over into this building. The log library moved over. The publication sales office, which was another offsite building, moved in. And this became OPIC, the Oklahoma Petroleum Information Center. This is, you got cores, cuttings, well logs, publications, everything all housed under one roof. And this opened in 2002. So a big part of OPIC is just these large collections that just sort of just get acquired. People just don't know what to do with it or something. Times change. And then it gets donated to OPIC. There were some repositories elsewhere in Oklahoma. One of them being in Oklahoma City, one in Enid, one in Shawnee, and one in Duncan. These were all sample libraries. The Duncan facility had moved down to Ardmore as the oil industry shifted in the 30s from Duncan to Ardmore. And that one had like 80,000 cuttings. It wound up, they also kind of ran to a point where they deemed it best to donate it to OPIC and let us manage those cuttings. Shawnee had what they called the Shawnee sample cut. And it had a large collection that was donated as well to OPIC. Now, the one thing I don't know about the Shawnee sample cut is I don't know exactly when it started and when it got donated. I haven't really found any documentation on the Shawnee sample cut. So if anybody here happens to know anything about that, please Let's Talk. There's a repository in Oklahoma City and Enid as well that I haven't found any information on, except that they closed during World War II. I don't know where those samples wound up going, if they ultimately wound up in OPIC or not. I don't know. But we do have some well log libraries that are in operation outside of OPIC. Of course, there's the Oklahoma Well Log Library in Tulsa. We have the Mid-Continent Library in Edmond, formerly in Oklahoma City, and the Ardmore Log Library. So we do still have some well log libraries available, but as far as sample libraries go, OPIC has become the only library available, at least outside of individual exploration companies. And then we can talk about the cuttings, the cores, and everything else that we have at OPIC. If you've been to OPIC, you probably came here to look for cuttings and cores. Maybe you've looked for some well logs. We do have a lot of cores. We do have over 5,000 of them stashed around in the warehouse. Every time I kind of wander around back there, it's kind of very Indiana Jonesy feeling, walking around, kind of half expect to see like the Ark of the Covenant stashed away somewhere, or a stash of treasure or something. It has a very, very unique feeling there. But of these cores, most of them are from oil and gas exploration. We do have about 200 that's from mineral exploration, like things associated like with lead zinc deposits and such. We do have about 150 of them that's from some cores of coal exploration, and about 120 for some very special projects that's been done for OGS scientific purposes or other organizations or whatnot. And then we got about 50,000 wells that have cuttings that we have, that we have available. There are some of them that we're kind of getting inventoried that we've had for a while. And so we do have some more of those that will be getting kind of more available in the future. But we do have some lists that are online, some spreadsheets. If you are interested, you have to dig around for the OGS website, and then you can find a couple of spreadsheets that details the information of these cores and of these cuttings. And it's a good starting point if you are looking for something. And then if for whatever reason, if you need to reach out to us, by all means, you can reach out to us and we'll see what we can dig up. We can get you some samples made. We have some folks that will cut samples for you. If you need plugs or whatnot, those are available. Microscopes, UV lights, we got those in our core viewing room. If you've been to OPIC, you've probably been to the core viewing room, big space with room for lots of folks and lots of cores. And then these are also a big part of the OPIC's collection is the well data. Well data is, we got so much data over here because we were the official repository for the OCC for like 5-inch well logs, completion forms, 1002As, and such. But they didn't want to keep on in their building, so they sent it down to us. And we've got a large warehouse room pictured here that's got over 600 filing cabinets with 5-inch well logs. I've kind of wanted to reach out to the Guinness World Records to see if we got the largest filing cabinet collection. But it's all there. It's publicly available. You can drop by, and it's all arranged by township and range, and so it's not too like it is organized in there. And on top of that, we do have a collection of mud logs. We got scout tickets. We've got
Is that well data indexed online or anything like that, or do you need it to show up in?
I don't think it's indexed online, but I will get back to this.
Okay.
There is a feature that we are rolling out to make it a little bit easier for you. I'll get to that towards the end.
Okay. Yeah.
And I don't want to spoil the
Spoil the
big
surprise.
But on top of this, the well data and cores and cuttings, we do have an abundance of other items for you to dig through. Some of the lesser known stuff that doesn't get used too much, but hopefully some of this might inspire y'all to come take a visit. We do have a big collection of strip logs. We got 126,000 of them going back to the 1890s. It's all arranged again by township and range, so it is organized. And I do think we've had some of these digitized. Those would have to be sort of on a case-by-case basis to try and dig it out. And we do have some aerial photographs going from the 30s to the 60s. These go back through all over Oklahoma. These were done by a geologist who was involved in the oil and gas industry, and then he wound up doing some work. He lived in Norman, then he did some work in Denver, and during World War II. And from what I understood, he would travel to Denver to train some geologists to use aerial photographs to help look for prospects for oil and gas. Back when oil was a little bit more shallower and you can follow structural trends. And he amassed a large collection of aerial photographs. And during World War II, he got a special commission from the Department of War to go to Denver to train geologists. And they gave him a special fuel rationing card where he could get like unlimited fuel to go to Denver, drive in Denver and back and forth to train geologists. But unofficially, it wasn't looking for, or officially, it was looking for oil and gas. Unofficially, it was looking for uranium deposits. And so we've acquired his Oklahoma collection. It doesn't cover every square mile, but it covers quite a bit, including like this one here. This is Keystone Lake shortly after completion. We got Keystone State Park up here, Candlestick Beach down here. We do sell our OGS publications from OPIC. We have them available. We got a little library that we've set up just this summer to make our OGS publications, a little bit more accessible and available. They are available as free PDFs online too, but we can hook you up down here. And I've been digging around, uncovering several guidebooks through OGS and other organizations that's been like stashed away in various boxes, and I'm setting those out there for anybody who needs those. And then we've got. I'm gonna pause this for a second. and, kind of show you a lot of the other stuff that we've got. If you happen to follow me on LinkedIn, I do regularly run across some really cool stuff in some box that hasn't been seen by anybody in probably about 20 years. And, I take a picture of that and I'll post it on LinkedIn. Kind of like this guy here. This was a strip log, but it's been turned into a chip log that's got cuttings glued to it. And this came out of the Ouachitas, so that you can get a pretty good idea of the stratigraphy in McCurtain County. I've never seen one of those before. I opened up a box and lo and behold, there's one there. We do got lots of legacy stuff. Just this morning, I opened up a box and found a volume of OGS press releases from 1911. So I'm going to dig through that, look for any mentions of gold and silver and all that good stuff. We've got a whole collection of volumes on a report from the subsurface of Tinker Air Force Base. This was done back in the 60s. OGS had done lots of field work, and they've back in the 30s and 40s, they maintained some pretty good notes and looking for water resources, barite deposits, and any prospects. We've got lots of old photographs like these guys from 100 years ago out at field camp in the Arbuckles. I've been trying to finagle my way into try and get some folks to digitize those and get them online, but no success just yet. If I can, at the end of this, I'll kind of walk through a little bit and show you a little bit more of the building itself, just a bit. And if I can get my screen back on, I'll finish up here with this. This little slideshow. Oh my word. I was going to mention that we do have some neat features that we are rolling out. For OGS here, going to the future, we do have a pretty cool little feature that we are rolling out online. This is, you can go to this link here. It's kind of an unwieldy link, but this is still in the early stages. And there's a QR code. You can point your phone at that and you can open this up. This is what we call the well viewer. This is something that we are still working on, but you can just Google OGS well viewer and pull it up. And it's a GIS based app where you can see individual wells. You can go layer by layer. And you can pull up any data that we have associated with these wells. And oh, there we go. This is zoomed in too much. Just say you can look up oil wells, injection wells, anything that we might have. I'll zoom in a little bit down out this way. Turn on the oil well layer. And you can click on a well and you can see, the API, the name, the basic information on it, TD. And if we have anything like for well logs, we are scanning well logs and getting these put on the line. So this is what I always want to come back to, so that you can find this stuff, some of these logs without having to dig through 600 filing cabinets. And this one, here's one down in Oklahoma City. There we have an e-log for it available. It's all in TIFF format that you can click on it. And it'll open up as a TIFF file that you can use for a raster for your use. And so we are in the process of getting these digitized. We do have 600 filing cabinets of well logs, so it's taken a while. We do have folks who this is their job, is just scanning well logs and getting them uploaded onto here. There's a lot of really cool stuff that we got in mind to do with this well viewer project. So once we get it further along, then we can kind of get it to a better URL and a little bit easier to find. And we can, shout about it from the rooftops. But it's we've got, here's the OGS geologic map, 40 overlaid, geology map 39, oil and gas fields of Oklahoma is overlaid on here. So it's all different layers you can put on. To townships and range. You can put a township and range grid on there. And so there's a lot of really cool stuff that we're trying to get to. Is just getting all these data put onto here. It just is very time consuming and takes a lot of manpower. And so keep an eye on that. Check back in from time to time. You can use that as a resource. That way our holdings are a little bit more accessible. Y'all don't have to come down, from Tulsa down to Norman just to dig through a bunch of filing cabinets. And we are getting some other cool stuff put online. We did get some new core loggers, core scanners, a couple of CT scanners, another one doing XRF, gamma, and photos. These are taking a while to get them online. We haven't got them online yet. It'll be hopefully next year. We just got to get things finished up on it. So these will be at OPIC, and hopefully we can get some cool data out of that. And OPIC, is always reliant on donations. So, hey, if y'all got you've seen a bunch of the stuff that we've got here, I'll try and show you a little bit more, that we take anything pertaining to Oklahoma geology, old data that's a century old that, nobody's using anymore. We hang on to all that kind of stuff. So if there's, anybody who's got old thin sections, old photographs, old documents, anything, old postcards even, and you don't want to toss them out, just drop them off over here. We can take them. We still got some space in our warehouse. And also, always welcome to come visit. We are open by appointment only. So give us a call, shoot us an email. We are off campus, so we're over at 2020 Industrial Boulevard in Norman, just tucked away out here by the airport. If you need any publications, you can just let us know. There is fees available for, pulling cores and cuttings and making samples and all that sort of thing. So there is a fee schedule for that, and that is online as well. But we try and keep those down, as low as possible for y'all. And if there's anything y'all need, feel free to send me an email or give me a phone call. I'm always happy to talk to y'all. And I will show you a little something out here. Just to kind of give you an idea on what we've got. Just outside of my office, we've got aerial photographs. We've got well completion forms. We've got well data. We've got scout tickets. If you've never seen scout tickets, we've got a whole bunch of scout tickets from back in the day. That there would folks going around spying on each other out in the oil field and selling that to everybody, so that they can see what you're doing on your well. If you're tripping out or anything, they'll count the pipes and everything and know how deep you are. So they did a lot of that buying and selling information out there. But we've got all this stuff out here. This is all just well data, range, township range. We've got old lease maps. We got a room full of old lease maps from all over Oklahoma, Texas, some parts of Texas. We got a room just for production data for Oklahoma. A lot of these are vintage data, so you're going back into the 60s, 70s, and 80s, looking at these old volumes. We got a room with a microfiche scanner, so if you need microfilm data, we got a lot of data that's been put on the microfilm, and we do have an index for that. And we do have a collection of some mud logs. This one's not as extensive as a giant warehouse full of the well logs, but we do have some mud logs out here. And so if y'all got any old mud logs y'all need to get rid of, I mean, we can add it to the collection. As you go through, we got our little library for Oklahoma Geology, OGS publications, the Shell Shaker. I think we got a couple publications from the Tulsa Society from back in the day, old conferences, field guides, field books, some of the surrounding states. We got an assortment of their publications and some reference material. So if you forget how to read a well log and need a book, we've got it. If you just, and of course we've got the cores going way back, and our well log warehouse out of that way. So we've got quite a bit over here that I keep running across some stuff in a box somewhere and try to find a new place to put it. So we've got a lot of old stuff out here. A lot of the new stuff has already been digitized or being, on IHS or wherever. But we do still continuously get new stuff, new cuttings, new cores, new well logs, and keep adding it to our collections. And we are trying to get all that stuff online for y'all. And so keep checking online for any new updates that OGS will have. And we're trying to keep up to date with stuff over here.
Thank you. That looks really great. I'm playing with the well viewer. Does anybody have any questions? Anything?
And
Oh, Jerry got one, I think. And then we've also got a question. Oh, we just have a comment from a librarian that says this is great. Jerry, have you got a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask what kind of working together is there between the MCGL and OWLL and IHS and Drilling Info and all of the different people that are all trying to construct a map of where the wells are and what's available? Do you know of any kind of cross work there?
No, I mean, I don't know what IHS or any of those companies are doing on their own. That's something that's totally up to them and what they're doing. We have been talking, with some of the other well log libraries to see what's going on with them, and if they needed any assistance or anything. But other than that, things are just kind of, everybody's just kind of doing their own thing as far as I'm aware.
Well, one of them that I left out there was the Oklahoma Corporation Commission, because it seems like the Corporation Commission's trying to make sure they have all the wells in the right places and the logs for them and this. And it seems nearly like your well log viewer is doing very similar things, but it seems like about half a dozen people are working toward the same goal on different projects that are all having trouble coming up with the resources to get much momentum. So I was just wondering, y'all are making it all available publicly, so that,
Yeah, all of ours, is just entirely, we've been going through funding to help with all of this. I know that OCC kind of has their thing. I know some of their stuff is kind of clunky in some ways. And ours is still new, and we're still figuring things out with our system. And hopefully, I don't know if there's going to be like the system that's going to be used, because ours is kind of based off of what information that we have. Just like with everybody else, it's based off of what they have, what API numbers they have. And so there might be a little bit of differences based on, what information everybody has. That, maybe one of the libraries has some logs and APIs that we don't. And so it's just sort of, they all may complement together in the end. And that's kind of, I think, is what we can hope for right now.
Looks like Bert has got a question also.
Yeah, no, you mentioned during your talk that you reposited well completion reports and so on that OCC had sent over to you. Are you repositing them currently? Are you still the paper repository?
Oh, shoot. As far as I'm aware, for the paper copies, I believe we are. As far as I'm aware on that. Anything that they may have, through digital copies and such, we probably don't have it. But for the hard copies of stuff, I think we're still getting those in.
Okay, thanks.
So I say I'm pulling up some stuff on the well viewer, things that had core analysis. Is this just what you already have scanned is on the well viewer? Are you adding stuff to it as you continue to scan more data?
Those are should
Oh, I'm sorry. You froze up. Sorry.
that have been brought over to us.
Okay.
And we do have a few filing cabinets for the hard copies. So some of these are in like a little strip log sort of thing, but they do, any associated data with some of these, even whole binders of information. So we have the hard copies, and hopefully several of these have been scanned and digitized. We've been scanning a lot of stuff, and so I'm not sure how much is percentage-wise has been scanned. But you just reach out to us, and then we can see if we got it.
Okay.
We can work with you.
So if we don't find it on here, we should probably still reach out to you if we think there's more data.
Reach out to us, and then if it's not on there, reach out to us. I know there are mud logs that are on WellViewer, e-logs, well logs. I don't recall if the core analysis reports were actually put onto there, but we do have several scanned.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like there's some. Excellent. Well, thank you. This has been a nice overview about all the data you've got. We'll try and get over there and take advantage of it. Does anybody else have any more questions? Okay.
Yeah, if you happen to come over here sometime, in the near future, we do take a lot of stuff, but we also got a lot of stuff that we don't really need, including a bunch of old vintage geology books. So, I can try to arrange something for y'all if you come down in the near future. Going back to like 60s and 70s and 50s and the 30s, and that we can't really find a place for it, or it's not too relevant nowadays. But yeah, feel free to come over anytime. Just give me a shout, and I can give the tour.
All right. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Sure thing.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you at the next event. Everybody have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah.